Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lent Night Show. We have an amazing lineup for you tonight. Our first guest will be Esther, Queen of Persia, and our second guest is Blessed Pier Giorgio Frasati. And even tonight, we have our local expert, Rob Masloski. And later in our show, we'll have our top 10 things to give up for Lent. So please stay tuned and have a great night.
Welcome to the Lent Night Show. We got a great show for you tonight. Did you hear what Pope Francis said? He said, don't let Lent become a selfish seafood splurge. No matter how good the fish is at the local fish fry, we still have to figure out the true meaning of the Meatless Fridays. We got a great show for you tonight, so let's get started. Well, it's going to be a great show tonight. To start off and kick off our night, we asked Nick to go interview our parishioners in a new segment we call In the Pews.
Oh, hey, I've been waiting for you. Come with me.
I gave up drinking pop or any type of sweet drink, and then I want to try to exercise more.
I gave up my iPod and junk food.
I gave up desserts.
Lent is like the time before Easter where you like prepare for Jesus being crucified and like rising and stuff, and yeah.
It's 40 days preparing for Easter. It's a time to return to the Lord, slow down.
Opportunity for us to look inside and try to examine ourselves where we've fallen short of being what God has intended us to be and growing closer to Him.
We fast on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday.
So our first guest tonight is a very, very important person. She's royalty, comes all the way from the land of Persia. Queen Esther, everybody. Let's welcome her in.
Well, Esther, it's great to have you on the show. So, let's just get right into it. Tell us about your story.
Well, I was just a typical Jewish girl growing up in the Persian Empire. But my parents died when I was very young, so my cousin Mordecai became my guardian. And he just mentored me in the faith. And so one day, the king of the Persian Empire, he decided that he needed a wife. And so he had tons of women come to him, and he chose one woman to be his wife, and that was me. And he chose me because of my beauty.
Was there a time that you had to sacrifice anything for your faith?
Yeah, I actually had to, or his second in command, Haman, he was kind of against all the Jews in the empire because they wouldn't bow down to him. And so he decided that he wanted to kill all of the Jews. And so I had to go to the king and ask for pardon for the Jews. But it was dangerous because if anyone went uninvited to the king, their punishment was automatically death.
Well, that's a shocking twist. So what happened then?
Well, I went to the king uninvited, and he was totally understanding, and he punished Haman for all of his crimes, and all the Jewish people were let to live.
Wow, that's a great story. So, transitioning into this season of Lent, what would you give up for Lent?
I think I would have to give up makeup, because I didn't wear any makeup before I became queen, but once I started wearing makeup more, I became a little vain, so I think that would help me come closer to God.
So, do you think you have any parting advice for our audience tonight?
Well, I would just say trust in God, because He's all you have and all you need. So just trust in His plan even when it feels like it's a little scary, like you might have to sacrifice more than you were willing to or thinking about.
Wow, well, that was a great story, and we really enjoyed your presence here tonight, Esther.
So our second guest for the night is a very handsome, wealthy aristocrat, Blessed Pier Giorgio Frasati. Let's welcome in, everybody. Come on.
Well, Pier Giorgio Frasati, it's great to have you on the show. So, well, tell us a little bit about your life.
Well, I was born in Turin, Italy, to a very wealthy family in 1901. And because I was born in this wealthy family, as growing up as a devout Catholic, I would always be willing to share and give my wealth to the poor and needy. And so, as I became more devout, I shared with the suffering of the city. And also, I was very active in athletics and in being very social with my friends. And because of that, a lot of my friends became closer to Christ, and I was a witness to them. And so, yeah.
Well, that's great. So, was there ever a time that you experienced God's love?
Oh yeah, many times, especially when I was helping the poor. You know, a lot of the times I went to the suffering and I saw Christ in them. Because, you know, as Christ said, what you do for the least of these, you do for me. And I really took that to heart, and I experienced God's love through helping these people.
Well, that's an amazing story. And so, if you could challenge one modern Catholic to do one thing this Lent, what would it be?
Well, you know, a lot of us, when we go out shopping, we buy things that are completely unnecessary for our lives. So I would really suggest going out and only buying what we really need. You know, and I think if we do that, we can just grow a lot closer to Christ.
Well, thank you for the great advice, Pier Giorgio Frasati, and now let's cut to commercial.
Many Christians become complacent in their faith.
Guys, come look at this.
However, throughout history, the church has thrived under persecution. Now, the church will have to rise up again.
Breaking news. Our nation's leaders have outlawed all forms of Christianity. Anyone associated with the church will be considered an enemy of the state. All church property will be taken by force immediately.
What does that mean?
Christians will have to make a choice to turn away from God or to defend their faith, themselves,
You all did this to us.
and each other.
Welcome back. So, this Lent we've had some questions being raised by our local parishioners. So we brought in an expert via video call, and his name is Rob. So, Rob, do you think you could answer us a few questions? And our first question would be, why does the church celebrate Lent?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. And that's an excellent question. You see, the first Sunday of Lent in the Gospels, we read that Jesus, after being baptized by John the Baptist, goes out and fasts for 40 days in the desert in order to prepare for his public ministry. And the church has established these 40 days during the year for Lent in order to prepare us for our spiritual journey. We fast and abstain. We give up things in our lives that are holding us back from God in order to better pursue him for the rest of the year.
So why do we fast and abstain?
Well, historically, people have fasted and abstained from various things in order to better remove themselves from their physical desires. Now, although many of our physical desires are natural and help us to seek good things, oftentimes, due to sin, we are distracted and pulled away from God by those desires. And so we learn obedience by refusing ourselves typical amounts of food or certain foods or a variety of other things because we have to concentrate on our choices. And by concentrating on those choices, we're better prepared to make proper choices in all other areas of our lives.
And our last question will be for the night is, why are we supposed to go to reconciliation during Lent?
That's a great question. We go to reconciliation during Lent because Lent is a period of the year that we spend in order to pursue God. And in order to do so, we have to be in a state of grace, which requires that we are forgiven of our sins. Now, of course, many people have difficulty with reconciliation, and that's fitting because confessing our sins ought not to be a simple task, because if it were, then it would really diminish the effects. Although God's graces would still be poured out, I think it's fair to say that we have a greater experience because we are challenged in reconciliation. So, and because of that, that challenge allows us to pursue God and pursue the God who is constantly reaching out to us. And so in the 40 days of Lent, the church asks us to go to reconciliation in order to respond to the God that's constantly reaching out to us and calling us back to him.
All right, thank you, Rob, for the great answers. And now give it up for the Phat Tuesday Band. Phat Tuesday for that great music. And now, to wrap up the show, we're gonna say the top 10 things you can give up for Lent. So, number 10, you can stop opening the refrigerator to look at the same food that's been there all day. I mean, come on.
Guilty.
And number 9, you can give up gluten, meat, or animal products. And number 8, you can also stop bragging about your special diet to get attention. I mean, nobody wants to hear about that. And now, number 7, rolling your eyes at your parents. Don't do that. They hate it. Okay, it just aggravates them more. Number 6, give up sarcasm.
What are you talking about? I'm never sarcastic.
Never. Okay, number 5. You can, if you're having a hard time dealing with anger, you can take up kickboxing.
And if you're lazy, take up Zumba.
Yeah, and if you're my mom, don't take up anything that we just said. And then number 4, leaving the lights on or the water on. I mean, it's really not that hard to turn the lights off when you leave a room, or when you're brushing your teeth, you can just turn the faucet off. So, number 3, texting and driving. I mean, you shouldn't even be doing that anyway, so what are you doing?
Is that illegal? That's illegal.
That's definitely illegal. So, you shouldn't even be doing that anyway. Number 2, being a backseat driver.
Hey Max, you're going a little fast there.
That's all right, Nick. I'm very aware of the speed I'm going, and I
think you missed your turn back there. Oh, use your turn signal too. Oh,
Okay.
Turn the radio station up.
All right, and now for the number 1 thing you can give up for Lent. Fake cleaning your room. I mean, seriously, don't keep shoving it under your bed and stuffing it in your closet. Actually take the time and organize your stuff. All right, well, that wraps up our top 10 list. Thanks for watching and have a great week.